Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Well, welcome back. It is Star Wars weekend. It is the 18th of December, and going to take a little bit of a side trip away from the hopper this week, and I'll get back on it, I swear. But in honor of it being Star Wars weekend, for me not getting a lot of work done this weekend, because let's face it, I'm like the rest of the civilized world, I'll be out watching Star Wars. So I picked a subject that I think is going to be a pretty quick and easy build for, I was going to say dirty, quick and dirty build for the weekend, and that is an X-Wing, a classic X-Wing. None of this Force Awakens nonsense. This is a classic X-Wing. And this is the version of the X-Wing, because there are legion of versions of X-Wing. So this is the one I am going to be working on this week. It is called the Snap Type Max. This is the new release of the larger X-Wing that has come out in conjunction with The Force Awakens. And this is probably one of the oddest model boxes I have ever seen. Just a weird size. It's maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. Closer to 2 inches thick. But really wide and really just a weird thing. Instead of a deep box, it's just a weird shaped box. But enough of that. Here is the actual kit, and let me change the color balance. And I'm back. It seems every time I get underneath this fluorescent light, I have to change the color balance. It's supposed to do it automatically, but it rarely ever does. This is, for all of its number of parts and size of things, a ridiculously easy kit. It's called a Snap Tight kit. It looks like they took a small snap kit and just literally blew it up. I've never seen such thick sprue and connections onto things. I mean, I got to take a hacksaw to get some of these cut through. And like a lot of the other models in this particular line of kits, they're calling it a pre-paint. And the pre-paint is, yeah, okay, by definition there's paint on it. But it's so laughably bad that it really needs to be scraped down and reprimed and start from scratch, which is what we're going to do. They have got, let me see if I can find, well, the things that are wrong with this kit are tremendous in number and importance, so let me get right to it. They put panel lines all over the place, and in many places where there shouldn't be panel lines, and the panel lines are way overdone, way too deep. They put panel lines where these markings are. If you listen closely, that's the knife scraping across the panel lines and making that sound. There shouldn't be any panel lines there, but given the time constraints of the weekend, I don't know how much of that I'm going to try to sand down and redo, or I'm simply just going to paint over. But they did some of the most ludicrous weathering on this, for lack of a better term. Those of us who know anything about X-Wings know that they tend to go this way. This way. This is the front of the X-Wing. This is the back of the X-Wing. And if you carry that over to the wings, this is the front of the wing. This is the back of the wing. So why in God's name do they have dirt and detail going this way? All the streaking on an X-Wing goes front to back. Yes, there are oil spots, and yes, there are laser hits, but all of the damage should be going front to back. It's you always go front to back. You never go back to front. You never go side to side either. So all of that has to be redone. So basically what I'm going to do is hack these away from the sprues tonight and clean up the parts. And then tomorrow morning I'm going to hit all of the parts with some primer. And then we'll see which pieces really need to be filled in and which don't. I mean, there's an embarrassing amount of heavy panel lines around the cockpit, which is, of course, the wrong color. It needs to be that robin's egg blue, and they've made it a light gray or a medium gray. Take a look at this wonderful piece of engineering. Notice the chamfer on that corner, on the corner of the cockpit, or of the cockpit glass. There's one there. There's one there. Fairly, I would say, equal. Look at that one, and then look at how small it is on that corner. You can see just from looking at those, that the one on the left is a whole lot more chamfered than the one on the right. So, just, oh boy. Like I say, it'll get you a nice big X-Wing when you're done. I mean, the ship is going to be, you know, out to there, nice and big, but this is just a remedial kit. This, I don't know who would be happy with the paint on that. Yeesh. Yeesh and a half. So let me get all. Well, the one thing they did do, or they did that was halfway decent, was the pre-painted R2. That's not so bad. And then for some reason the R2 is in a bag by itself, and the legs are out here. Yeah. I don't know what you can say about it, but I'm going to clean all these parts up and get them ready for the priming. Well, it's Saturday morning. I've got a lot of the parts off the sprues, obviously, and starting to sand them and get them all cleaned up. And I'm noticing something already that I don't like in this giant toy of an X-Wing. I noticed when I was building these that the guns that looked awfully cheap to me. The fact that it does not have a bottom to it, and I was testing it to see, okay, well, does it get covered up? Is it bad enough that you don't see it? Well, here's what it looks like when you stick it on a wing. It looks like a cheap toy. So you can see down in there. It's just ugly. It doesn't look substantial or anything. So what I'm going to do is take some epoxy sculpt, I think is the best solution, and just jam it down in there and fill those up to make them completely round. So that's what I'm going to do. So I realized I could save myself a lot of epoxy sculpt if I fill that in with some plastic before that. So I took some styrene rod or tube out of the old boodle box of stuff and parts. And if I put that in there and fills up most of the way, and then I could put a little bit of epoxy sculpt on the top of it instead of using a lot of epoxy sculpt, because it's a limited resource. Well, I certainly feel a lot better about this, even if it's going to be noticed by maybe 1 out of 100 people. But these are filled in with epoxy sculpt. Now, it's not completely rounded, but it's not hollow anymore, and that's what I was a-gunning for, no pun intended. So, I'm going to let this dry in for a few hours, and then what I'm going to do is finish cleaning up the rest of these parts and get them ready for the big primer spray, because they all need to go back to primer before they can be painted the proper colors and effects. Well, good evening. It's into Saturday evening, early evening, and I went out and saw The Force Awakens this afternoon. So no modeling got done. But outside of just sitting here, me telling you, go see the movie, go see the movie, go see the movie over and over for about 20 minutes, that's about the most helpful thing I can tell you. And if at all possible in this day and age, go see it unspoiled. I managed to keep my mind and my curiosity to myself and did not read any spoilers and did not read any reviews before I went to see it. And I think I'm the better person for it, because there were some things that were genuinely surprising. So, now I have just enough time this evening to get these parts of this X-Wing primed. I'm going to get a lot of the special features. To tell you the truth, I ain't going to do it. Like this little stupid missile carrier. I never saw one. I don't believe it's there. I'm not going to use it. And a lot of these little sections that are supposed to come off to reveal guts and whatnot, I'm just gluing them down, because they mean nothing to me. So what I'm going to do is there's a tiny bit of construction I can do. Parts, most notably little tiny wee parts that go on the front here and the back here. I can go ahead and put those on now, and then I'm going to prime the bejesus out of it, and then we'll be able to pick it up tomorrow with some... or maybe even later tonight, with some basic construction, and then we can start painting, which is the fun thing. I've decided not to light this, even though it's huge and could be lit very easily, very remedially, as a matter of fact. I ain't gonna do it. I just want to knock this out and get it done. So no lights for these, and we'll pick it up after we're on the next stage. Greetings. It is Sunday morning, and after having the primer coat dry all evening and coming back to it in the morning, which is the healthy way. It's what you should do. You should let paint dry before coats, not like I always do. I automatically like this kit even better. I think a lot of what was bugging me was the poor paint job that was done on as a pre-paint kit. Once you strip all of that away and the toy nature of it disappears, you get back to looking at what could be made into a serious model. Now, they still have way too many panel lines. They've made the red markings panel lines, and you can see that now. Before you couldn't because of the red paint. So I need to decide, is it worth trying to fill all those in, or do I just need to make a template set that matches that so that I can paint back over it? They are a little bit lighter than the big panel lines, so it's not as distracting as I thought it would be. Now, there's still some big distracting panel lines there, and I'm wondering whether I shouldn't try to fill some of those in. But in keeping with this being a weekend build, I probably will not. I probably will go ahead and try to put some sort of base light gray, almost a white coat on this kit. Actually, I think what I'll do is go back in and do some more building. Like, I could put these wing inserts in and things like that, and I'll spray those with a darker color first, I guess. Do some grunge detailing in there. Oh, what did you see? These have dried. The epoxy sculpt has dried, and now they look like actual cylinders with various weapon details on them instead of hollowed out toy parts. So I recommend that for everybody. Just take a couple minutes and just fill those things in, because they have a little bit more of a heft to them now. They just look better. Just do it. Don't bother me with it. Just do it. I need to, I guess the next big thing will be to go ahead and put these halves together with those, and then sand down the seams that will arise as a part of that. But now we're back in familiar X-Wing territory. It is Sunday afternoon, and I have just got back from our church's Christmas cantata. Got to hear a lot of good spiritual music and trying to get me into the Christmas mood, although it's tough to do when it's 55 degrees outside. Anywho, we are getting to the nuts and bolts of this, and I am starting to work up some painting templates. Like I always do for X-Wings, the first thing I do is the canopy, because you want to keep that nice and clean, but you want to paint the frame. So basically, I take some transfer tape and I transfer the dimensions, and then I'll scan these and make vinyl mask from. But here again, you can see what I was talking about as far as the angles not being anywhere near equal to each other. I don't know why they did this. It's just stupid. So what I'm going to do is I can either repeat their stupidity or try to improve it. And I think what I'm going to do is fake this angle here to match that angle there, and make a mask that will allow you to paint further down. Yeah, it's not going to match the contours, but it's going to look better from a distance. And that's important. And also some of these odd shapes. Now, I'm going to include a lot of straight runs of vinyl for you to, mask straight lines. That's nobody's tough thing there. But like that shape needs to be dark gray, so I will make a mask of probably this shape and this shape, so that I don't have to worry about trying to make a mask that goes over these raised areas. So I'm going to start putting some tape down on some areas and tracing them off, so that I can start doing more of this type of construction. And then really the looking at old source materials and things like that, what you want to do on an X-Wing is paint your light gray, not quite white, your light gray over the whole deal. And then what I'm going to do is probably go back to the hairspray method and spray hairspray over the areas where the chipped markings will be, because this is a subject where you paint it all white, and the markings, the red stripes, the blue stripes, some of the yellow, everything that comes off of that usually only ends up showing the white underneath it. It doesn't go down to the metal, mostly. So what I'm going to do is white or light gray, and then hairspray, and then markings on top of that. So I need to mask off to make paint masks for the markings and some straight lines, and I need to mask straight lines for where the canopy is going to be, and then there's also masks for the candy cane striping. Boy, you can really see it by looking at that how off that is. There's a definite hump on that side. You can see the over and underness of it. It is not straight at all. So we're going to paint these things completely the intermediate blue, and then we will put a strip of vinyl on there to simulate the candy cane of what we want to keep blue, and then we'll paint white over top of it. So there's sanding and seaming and puttying in my future. As we continue the X-Wing for Xmas, I'm going to, now that I've got some certain parts traced off and transferred to the computer, I am going to go back and do some more construction, and that basically includes putting some parts together and then sanding their resultant seams. So let's take care of some of that. Here's some major assemblies kind of slapped together to give you an idea of the scale of the X-Wing, as it were. You put, let's see, if you were to place one of these guys on here and put that next to it, you would get, you know, a pretty sizable X-Wing. So while we're letting things dry, I'm just pondering my parts for the future. It's that time. We're done for another weekend. No, I didn't get anywhere near what I wanted to get done, but I have to tell you, with Christmas coming up on next weekend, or next Friday, and getting the last minute presents bought and wrapped and ready to go, and a little interruption of the Star Wars movie, I just didn't get done what I wanted to get done, and I'm not feeling bad about it. That's just the way it is. This is not a scheduled build. It's not a requirement that it gets done. And if your hobby becomes a hassle, then it's no longer a hobby. So I'm getting done at the pace that I'm going to do. And now, like I say, we get through Christmas. I have some extra time off coming up because of the state holiday days, and then a long weekend around that. So yeah, I'll get the X-Wing wrapped up, and I'll get back on the hopper, and we'll have a Happy New Year. How's that for a alliteration for you? We'll get the X-Wing for Xmas, and then a Happy New Year, and that satisfies my my inner punology. So there. So let me tell you, I've got 870. I just checked, 870 subscribers, and that's every one of you. And I want to wish you a merriest of Merry Christmas. If Christmas ain't your bag, that's okay by me. Have a happy holiday. If a happy holiday is not what you're looking for, then you just be a grumpy Gus. So until next week, and yes, I will have a report next week. It may be of indeterminate length, I don't know. But until next time, when we shall gather around the workbench again and get on to this, get further down the road on this X-Wing, y'all have a wonderful week, and I will see you back again right here.